Deandre Ayton just physically went after LeBron James and Luka Doncic in the Lakers' locker room after their loss to the Suns, and multiple players had to step in to hold him back. The explosion came after Ayton was benched in the fourth quarter, while LeBron and Luka ran the offense without even looking his way. According to sources inside the locker room, Ayton snapped when he overheard LeBron tell Luka just treat him like Capela, dump it off and let him finish. That comment set Ayton off, and what happened next left the entire team in shock. Here's how it all unfolded. Let's start from the beginning, the moment Ayton arrived in LA, and what he said he was there to do. To understand what just happened in the Lakers locker room, you have to rewind to last summer. The Bahamian center received a great opportunity to increase his stock after a buyout from the Portland Trail Blazers in 2025, which paved the way for a move to the Lakers as a free agent, playing with Doncic and LeBron James. That was the pitch, that was the dream, and Ayton was clear about what this meant to him. At his introductory press conference in July, Ayton said, "It's a platform that I cannot run from. I can show what I really am." He was choosing this. For the first time in his career, he had agency. Given that he was drafted by the Suns and traded to the Blazers, this was the first time in his career that he had control over where he would play. And one of the main reasons LA made sense to him was the two names at the top of the roster. Ayton talked during his press conference about how those two players make everyone around them better and can do the same for him. They both average about 9 assists over their career span. Ayton said, "The type of players they create with their teammates, they turn them into superstars." Think about that for a second. This is a man who walked into his new job and said, out loud, that playing with LeBron James and Luka Doncic would turn him into something better. He did not say he was going there to be the man. He did not say he was going there for touches. He said LeBron and Luka would elevate him. Now, to be fair to Ayton, the hype around him was not manufactured. Ayton was selected with the first overall pick in the 2018 NBA draft by the Phoenix Suns and was named to the NBA All-Rookie First Team in 2019. In 2021, he helped lead the Suns to their first NBA Finals appearance since 1993. He was not some journeyman center arriving in LA with nothing on his resume. This was a player who, at 22 years old, was a starter on a finals team. But somewhere between Phoenix and Portland, the trajectory shifted. As a first pick, a Western Conference scout told ESPN, he's mostly underachieved. That label, underachiever, has followed Ayton from city to city. And when he landed in LA, the expectation from the organization was simple. In a perfect world for Los Angeles, Ayton will be a lob threat in pick and rolls with Doncic and take full advantage of the spacing that comes when opposing defenses collapse on the star ball handler. And Ayton himself said he understood that. In the preseason, he said the words that have now come back to haunt him. "I wanted to show the team I'm more committed on the defensive end than the offensive end in a way," he said then. "Like I said from the get-go, I'm not really here for numbers. I'm just here for whatever the Lakers want me to do, and the main objective is really protecting that rim and closing out possessions." He went even further. "It doesn't matter if you're scoring and shooting and scoring. You got Luka Doncic, you got LeBron James and Austin Reeves. Trust those playmakers, and if you get more than 2 shots, then that was how the game was supposed to go." Read that again. If you get more than 2 shots, that was how the game was supposed to go. That is Deandre Ayton, in his own words, in the preseason, saying he did not need shots. He was there for defense, for rim protection, for the dirty work. Now contrast that with what just came out of his mouth in February. A completely different tune, a completely different Ayton. And that is where this whole thing gets interesting. There was even a moment during the offseason where the signals about his fit in LA were already there. Deandre Ayton is one of the newest faces of the Los Angeles Lakers, but he was still waiting to hear from his most famous teammate. During a Tuesday appearance on ESPN LA, Ayton was asked if he had heard from LeBron James or Luka Doncic and revealed only the latter has reached out to him. "Not really yet," the big man said, "but I definitely got a text from Luka. LeBron had not reached out. Luka had. That was the dynamic from day one." But Ayton said he understood the situation. He said, "I know how the offseason goes. This is not my first rodeo. People are probably busy training and spending time with their families. But I'm just waiting, trying to integrate myself with the team and getting to know everybody." He was patient. He was understanding. He was ready to accept whatever role the Lakers needed. That was July. That was the summer. Then the season started. The 2025-26 season began with promise for Ayton. He put up 20 and 10 in 6 of the Lakers' first 15 games, including in wins against teams featuring elite big men. In San Antonio Spurs star Victor Wembanyama and the Milwaukee Bucks' Giannis Antetokounmpo, he was doing it. He was showing the league that this version of Deandre Ayton was the real thing. But then, as things tend to go in the NBA, the momentum did not last. The Lakers went 4-7 from decades 20 through Jan 12, and Ayton's momentum halted too. After scoring just 4 points on 2 for 4 shooting on Jan 2 against the Memphis Grizzlies, Ayton aired a rare grievance. This was the first public crack, the first time we heard Ayton express frustration. And it was not just about that one game. Over a month ago, Deandre Ayton blamed LeBron James and Luka Doncic for not getting enough touches. So by early January, Ayton was already pointing fingers at the two franchise players he came to LA to play with, the same two players he said would make him a superstar. He was now saying those same two players were not feeding him the ball enough. And this was not the only off-court issue either. Ayton spent the All-Star break in his native Bahamas, rehabbing the right knee soreness that caused him to miss 2 games. On his way back to LA, he was detained at Lynden Pendling International Airport in Nassau for a very small amount of marijuana that wasn't in Deandre's bag, his lawyer told Reuters. Ayton was quickly released, and sources told ESPN he made it back to LA without missing any team activities. The Lakers consider the situation a misunderstanding and have moved forward from it. So you have the on-court frustrations, the declining numbers, and now airport incidents during the All-Star break. It was not a smooth ride for Ayton or the Lakers, but the coaching staff stayed the course. Redick, who has remained an advocate behind the scenes, sources close to Ayton told ESPN, took the feedback in stride. In a rematch with Memphis 2 nights later, Redick called the first play for Ayton, and the early score spurred him to 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks for the game. J.J. Redick was trying to make it work. He even went beyond the X's and O's. In mid-November, Lakers head coach J.J. Redick was spotted wearing a custom t-shirt with Ayton's family name and jersey number at the back and DeAndre's face mixed with a lion in front. When asked to explain what he was wearing, J.J. said they wanted Ayton to be a lion on the basketball court. That is a head coach literally wearing his player's face on a shirt to boost morale. That is not something you see often. The Lakers organization was doing everything it could to get Ayton's head right, to keep him engaged, to keep him motivated. And then there was the January game that told you everything about the volatility of this situation. On January 18, 2026, Ayton scored 25 points on 10 for 10 shooting and added 13 rebounds in the Lakers' 110-93 victory over the Toronto Raptors. He became the 34th player in NBA history to make at least 10 shots without a miss, while also grabbing at least 10 boards. He joined Wilt Chamberlain and Mitch Kupchak as the only ones to do it in Lakers history. That is the ceiling. That is the player the Lakers signed. 10 for 10 from the field, alongside names like Wilt Chamberlain. But the floor is what has the basketball world talking right now. Ayton also claimed, bigs can't feed themselves. That comment drew mixed reactions. That earned LeBron's sympathy and fans' ire. LeBron understood the frustration from a teammate's perspective. The fans did not. And here is where the deeper issue sits. If the Lakers make a run and Ayton fulfills his role, his gamble to forfeit $10 million of his $35.6 million salary with the Blazers for 2025-26 to become a free agent could pay off with a new multi-year contract this summer in LA or elsewhere. But if they stumble, Ayton's contributions, or lack thereof, will be seen by everyone around the league, which makes this a tenuous time. For the Lakers to win, every player will have to play his role. But if the Lakers aren't winning, every player playing for his next contract, like Ayton, will naturally feel the pull to play for himself. There it is, the tension between team basketball and individual auditions. Ayton gave up $10 million to bet on himself in LA. He is on a 2-year, $16.2 million deal. If this goes wrong, his next contract goes down, not up. The pressure was building. And then came the Magic game. The Los Angeles Lakers' loss to the Orlando Magic last Tuesday became the talk of the town after Luka Doncic uncharacteristically passed up on the game-winning shot and instead threw LeBron James a grenade with time winding down. The final play was a disaster. Though the glaring storyline coming out of the loss was how Luka Doncic passed up an open shot in the final seconds and instead dumped the ball off to LeBron James for a desperation heave. There was little attention paid to how Doncic got that open look to begin with. Coming out of the timeout, Ayton executed his part in Lakers coach J.J. Redick's play with precision, running from the backcourt to the left wing and squaring his shoulders to set a hard pick on the Magic's Anthony Black to free up Doncic for a clean catch beyond the arc. So here is the irony. Ayton did his job on the final play. He set the screen. He freed up Luka, and Luka, who was open, chose to pass it to LeBron. LeBron missed. The Lakers lost 110-109. But the real story was not the final play. Ayton did manage to score 21 points on 8 of 11 shooting and grab 13 rebounds. That is an incredible stat line. He was efficient. He was productive. And yet, after the game, frustration took over. After the loss, center Deandre Ayton made a scene backstage. After telling reporters that his teammates reward him when he plays hard, he headed to the shower shouting, "They're trying to make me Clint Capela. I'm not no Clint Capela," per ESPN's Dave McMenamin. It's unclear if it was Ayton's intention that he wanted to be heard, or if he was just speaking to himself out of frustration. But it was loud enough that the group of reporters who were there heard it, and it was controversial enough to land on the headlines. Now let's break down what that comparison means. Ayton was referring to the Houston Rockets' now backup center, who a decade ago made his impact as a lob-catching, rim-running big on a team that made it to 2 conference finals. Ayton's gripe is that he doesn't want to be a rim-running big like Capela, a veteran center with the Houston Rockets, who is known for elite rebounding and catching lob passes. Ayton's frustration is straightforward. He believes the Lakers are boxing him into a narrow, rim-run, catch lobs, defend job, the Clint Capela archetype, when he sees himself as a more complete offensive player, and that is the core of this whole situation. Ayton sees himself as more than a rim runner. He sees himself as a scorer. He sees himself as a player who can operate in the post, hit the mid-range, create his own shot. The Lakers see him as a screen setter, a lob catcher, a defensive anchor, the exact things he said he would be in the preseason. However, the Lakers lost at the buzzer after a final play in which, among other things that went wrong, Ayton did not roll to the basket after setting a screen for Luka Doncic. Think about that. In the same game where he complained about being asked to play like Capela, catching lobs and rolling to the rim, he did not roll to the rim on the last play. He did the very thing he was saying he should not have to do, set a screen, and then did not follow through on the part that would have made it work. LeBron, for his part, took the high road after the Magic loss. Obviously, sometimes he has it going. And then when he does has it going, we try to find him, James said. And tonight, I thought we did a great job of doing that, and I thought he played great. LeBron called Ayton's performance great. He said the team tried to find him when he had it going. And yet, minutes later, Ayton was in the locker room shouting about Clint Capela. The disconnect between what LeBron said and what Ayton felt tells you everything about where this relationship sits right now. Luka needs a lob-catching partner at center. He went to the NBA Finals with 2 of them on the Mavs. Everyone knew the Lakers were searching for one this summer. That is the reality. Luka's game is built on having a center who runs the floor, catches lobs, and finishes at the rim. That is what Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively did in Dallas. That is what the Lakers need Ayton to do. The Capela comment went viral. It landed on every basketball website, every podcast, every post-game show. And it did not take long for the man himself to respond. Clint Capela, the Rockets' big man, took a shot at Ayton following his abysmal performance the next game. "You got 2 of the best floor generals in the game, my dog. Lock in," wrote Capela on Instagram with laughing emojis. That response was pointed. Capela's message implied that playing a defined role next to elite creators is an opportunity rather than a limitation. Capela was telling Ayton, "You have LeBron James and Luka Doncic feeding you the ball, and you are complaining. Lock in." And the timing of Capela's response made it hit even harder, because on the very next game after the Magic loss, Ayton's performance cratered. Following his comments after the Magic game, Ayton scored only 2 points and grabbed 4 rebounds in Thursday's 113-110 loss against an undermanned Phoenix Suns team. 2 points, 4 rebounds against a Suns team that was missing its best players. The Suns were playing without the injured Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks, who average a combined 45.6 points per game. And Ayton could not produce against that depleted roster. Hours after ESPN's Dave McMenamin published a feature that included Ayton's blunt complaint about his role, the Lakers lost a gut puncher to the Phoenix Suns, and Ayton followed the quote with one of his roughest box score nights of the season. Ayton was a -24 plus-minus, posting just 2 points and 4 rebounds in 23 minutes. -24 in a game the Lakers lost by 3. That means the Lakers were outscored by 24 points. In the 23 minutes Ayton was on the floor, in a 3-point loss. That is staggering. The Lakers ended up benching Ayton just 2 minutes into the 4th quarter. As LeBron James replaced him as a small ball center, they pulled him, they went to LeBron at the 5. And the loss to the Suns came on a Royce O'Neal game winner. LeBron made a questionable decision of his own in the final seconds, leading to Royce O'Neal's game winner in a 113-110 loss to the Phoenix Suns. O'Neal hit a wide-open three-pointer with 1.7 seconds left, thanks to a defensive scramble by the Lakers when James chose to leave his man to help on Grayson Allen, who already had 2 Lakers checking him. So the defense fell apart. Ayton was on the bench. LeBron made a mistake. Luka could not save it. The Lakers dropped to their 3rd straight loss. That's the nightmare sequence for LA. The quote hits in the morning. Then the team immediately loses a tight one to a shorthanded Suns group, while the "I'm not Capela" guy gives you almost nothing on the glass and no interior scoring punch. The NBA on Prime crew was not kind to Ayton either. The controversy took center stage on the Prime postgame show. Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki, and Steve Nash were baffled by his comment, because Capela is arguably the most adaptable center and versatile role player between his two Rockets stints. Blake Griffin had actually been watching Ayton since the start of the season. Griffin said at the start of the season, he's got like that next gear to go to, where he doesn't have to be a 25-15 guy, he just needs to be a 12-12 and make the right play guy. And it will go so far for Luka, it will go so far for the Lakers, their defense, everything. So that was a little bit disappointing. I don't know that I was expecting a huge turnaround from the Ayton that we've seen over the years, but that's what I saw. Griffin was saying, be a 12-12 guy who makes the right play. That is the Clint Capela role. And Griffin called it disappointing that Ayton could not accept that. Lakers fans agreed too and actually wished they had Capela instead of Ayton. Once more, Deandre Ayton's desire to be featured more in the mid-range and post is alienating him from a fan base. As Griffin said, his inability to adapt is out of touch with modern winning basketball. And then there was the Markieff Morris situation that resurfaced. Markieff Morris said, I sat on the bench, Luka, whoever, and we watched Ayton play in Portland. Some of the stuff he was doing we couldn't believe. And Luka was sitting right next to him. We're looking at each other like, what the heck is that? Markieff then said, I'm already in my head knowing when they got Ayton. Oh, that's not going to work. Because first of all, he don't play hard. That is a former teammate saying, before the season even started, that Ayton would not work in LA because of his effort. The Morris twins claim that Ayton is not a sacrificial big, and he doesn't mesh with Luka Doncic's style because of that. Now let's zoom out, because this is not just about one quote in a locker room. This is about the Lakers season, their playoff hopes, and the future of their roster. Ayton is averaging career low minutes, 28.1, rebounds, 8.4, and points, 13, in the first of two pivotal years on his contract with the Lakers. And something will have to give if he wants to establish himself as the solution to the Lakers' center problem. Career low minutes, career low rebounds, career low points. For a #1 overall pick playing next to two of the greatest facilitators in basketball history, those numbers are telling. The Lakers' record after the Suns' loss is concerning. The Los Angeles Lakers have reached a low point in the season, losing to the Phoenix Suns on a last-second shot in what was the team's third straight defeat. Despite a strong performance from Luka Doncic, questions about JJ Redick's fit as head coach, Deandre Ayton's play as starting center, and the fit with LeBron James are all becoming growing issues for the Lakers as they begin to fall in the Western Conference standings. Issues across the board for Los Angeles were clear on Thursday against the short-handed Suns, and the defensive issues are mounting. Marcus Smart called out the entire team for miscommunication, telling reporters the Lakers didn't talk, we didn't switch when we were supposed to. Smart, whose locker is next to Ayton's, had previously offered a measured assessment of the center. I think he's done okay, Smart said. He definitely could be better, we all could. But the thing I love about it is he understands it and he's working. We all are trying to figure it out. This is new to everybody. He's doing his best, but he understands it's another notch that we need him to go to. And we're going to try to get him there and help with that. But he knows he's got to do his part as well. That was Smart before the Capela outburst. The question now is whether the locker room dynamic has shifted. This is where it gets real for JJ Redick's staff and the front office. It's not about being Clint Capela as an insult. It's about accepting the highest impact version of the job for this roster. If Ayton won't consistently anchor the paint and sprint the floor, the Lakers staff can tighten minutes and lean more into smaller lineups or alternative bigs, but that comes with trade-offs in rim protection and rebounding, and that gets to the core of what this is really about. The Lakers' current build needs that archetype next to Luka Doncic, a vertical spacer who sprints into screens, dives hard, and finishes through contact, forces weak side help, opens corner shooters, and makes switching defenses pay. If the center wants post touches and mid-range rhythm instead of living in the pick and roll, the whole geometry changes, and not in a fun way. The Lakers do not need Ayton to be a 25-point scorer. They need him to be a 12-12 guy who catches lobs, protects the rim, and cleans the glass. That is the Clint Capela role, and there is nothing wrong with it. Ayton's role in Los Angeles might not be what he thought it would be when he joined the squad, but there's nothing wrong with playing a role like Capela, who has served as a reliable big on successful teams for a decade now. Throughout his career, Capela has excelled as a screen setter, lob threat, and defensive anchor. His success alongside playmakers has often translated into efficient production and playoff impact. And here is the final layer to all of this. The Lakers' big man is currently in the first year of a 2-year, $16.2 million contract, in which the second year is a player option. If Ayton is unhappy with his role on the team, and nothing is done after he voices his concern, then there is a chance that he chooses not to pick the player option and move on to potentially another team. So the leverage exists on both sides. Ayton can walk after this season if he opts out, but where would he go? What team is offering a former #1 pick a bigger role? When his current numbers are at career lows and he is making headlines for complaining about his situation, then there is the history that keeps repeating itself. The intentional fall provided a glimpse of the raw athletic talent that made Ayton the Phoenix Suns' top selection, and an example of a questionable reputation that has followed him for years across the NBA. Early in his career, he would sometimes take on a different persona when answering questions to the media. Alejandro, who spoke with an accent, was a favorite of his. Josh, whose mood would swing at the drop of a hat, was another, sources told ESPN, and he would sometimes stay in character when interacting with players and coaches. And there was the Portland incident. With the Portland Trail Blazers, for whom he played from 2023 to 2025, he infamously missed a home game against the Brooklyn Nets because he didn't prepare to make the commute to the arena with the frigid forecast and was reportedly stuck in his neighborhood because of snow and icy conditions. The pattern is there. The talent is undeniable. But when a player has a standing reach of 9'3", a wingspan of 7'5", and a 43-inch vertical leap, certain behaviors can be tolerated. That is the trade-off teams keep making with Ayton. The physical tools are rare, the consistency is rarer, or perhaps most importantly, the question is whether he can accept the part the Lakers want him to play. That is the question, not whether Ayton can score. We know he can. Not whether he has the physical tools. We know he does. The question is whether Deandre Ayton, the #1 overall pick in the 2018 draft, the man who helped the Suns reach the NBA Finals, the player who once scored 25 on a perfect 10 for 10 in a Lakers uniform, can accept a role that he sees as beneath him. Because right now, the Lakers sit 6th in the Western Conference with the loss, leaving the Lakers just 1 game ahead of the Suns and out of the play-in tournament. The margin for error is thin, and if Ayton cannot embrace the role, the Clint Capela role, the rim runner role, the lob catcher role, then the Lakers will have to make decisions. Decisions about minutes, decisions about lineups, decisions about whether the center of the future is even on this roster. Because at the end of the day, as Blake Griffin said on the Prime post-game show, adapt or die. The NBA does not wait for anyone to figure it out. Not even a #1 pick. Not even a player with LeBron James and Luka Doncic throwing him the ball. Ayton has the next contract on the line. The Lakers have the playoffs on the line. And right now, those two priorities are running in opposite directions. Something has to give. And based on what we have seen this week, the outburst, the 2-point game, the benching, the Capela clapback, it is looking like Ayton is running out of time to prove that he can be the player the Lakers need him to be. Not the player he thinks he should be, the player they need. The Lakers visit the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. The Western Conference standings are tight. The clock is ticking. And Deandre Ayton has a choice to make. Be Clint Capela or be on the bench. That is where we are. That is the reality of the 2025-26 Los Angeles Lakers.